And we want to be part of those who will shape the market, really shapers of the fashion and the beauty industry into the Middle East.
Has the concept of luxury changed over the years, especially after the pandemic and the Great Resignation?
It's true that the world is changing so fast with an environment which is moving fast. The biggest change we are seeing is from the consumer and the consumer perspective. The consumer today is absolutely driven by different things than he was before. The consumer of today, especially after the pandemic, is looking for things which have a purpose, which have a meaning. The consumer is more and more looking of what is the interest for him, what is it for him in order to evolve. Into the luxury business, for a long time it was about the status, about how to impress the other, about how to count for the other. But much more recently, it's all about the person himself. Today our consumer is very young. We are speaking to new generation who are increasingly making what our business is about into the luxury part of it. And their ways of living life, they are digitally born, digitally survive, is totally different from what their more mature and elder people were thinking about. It is about also the aesthetic, the beauty, the quality, and not only, but also about the tradition, the know-how, etc. So there is, at the same time, certain things which remained, but a lot of new development into the luxury world, which is fascinating.
Luxury brands are now battling for young consumers. Which of their strategies will work?
I mean, today, in order to satisfy and to attract those young consumers, you need to try to understand better what drives them. What are the elements which will make them vibrate? What will be delighting them, inspiring them? And today, those young consumers want innovation, want creativity, want differentiation, want personalization, wants to see things which are meaningful, which has a meaning for them in order to be able to do it. Of course, you need to inspire them, but at the same time, you need to be relevant, extremely relevant to what counts for them and what it is. And it's consumer which is very volatile. So at the same time, they are in love with tradition and with history, but at the same time, they want this modernity and the things which will make them stand out from the crowd and be much more meaningful. So more than ever, innovation, creativity, linked to art, because we are speaking about art, linked to poetry, which things which make you dream, is much more meaningful for the consumer of today.
What role does technology play in creating personalized experiences? How are your stores evolving?
So technology, for me, especially when we speak about the luxury, was as really to be the enabler which disappears, and sometimes some of the players are really pushing on the technological part of it. I don't feel that the consumer is interested into this part of it, but technology is fantastic today to help us delight our customer, to help us better understanding him, thanks to the data which we can get on him, thanks to the fact that we can be much more focused on what they will be able to do. Can you imagine that today we can anticipate a lot of the reaction thanks to all the data which we have accumulated? Can we imagine that today we can watch all the different movement and thanks to the technology make sure that we can answer and anticipate those demands and make it move. So really the technology will help us to be much more, once again, relevant and meaningful into it. And the use of the technology is not only on our digital device, it's also the use of the technology in our brick and mortar stores, in all of our use, the new use of the technology in order to be able to bring to the customer the relevant thing and to bring it quickly swiftly without having those time where you are going to wait or to anticipate or to recognize or to accumulate all the elements which you should know for your customer. And the customer is more and more wanting to be serviced quickly, to have certain very relevant advice, not generic advice about it. And technology is fantastic to be able to give us all those elements and those elements quickly. But then we need to make sure that we engage quickly with it.
Tell us more about the greenhouse. What excites you about talent being discovered?
So Greenhouse is an incubator which the Chalhoub Group has put in place now since about 5 years. And the Greenhouse primarily objective is to try to fuel innovation within our group and within the mindset of our people. So initially it was to encourage our teams to come with ideas and to give them this opportunity to develop those ideas and to make it happen, to make their own startup, but also to think as a startup. And then from this incubator for ideas for our own teams, we opened it up also to create a beauty lab, a fashion lab, to attract some of the entrepreneurs who wants to develop their own idea with the support of the group in order to develop them within an ecosystem which we are creating. We even have started a startup studio where we can bring the idea, where we can bring a manager and together make them happen, etc. And obviously we had fantastic idea which came. Some of them didn't make it and had to move out. And some of them, and I could give an example, there is one of those activities, one of the startup where that after 1.5 years has been so much relevant for our customers. And we go back also to the technology, because thanks to the technology, understanding about the database of their customer, and every time which they profile their customer, they come up with suggestion of what they will suggest for them, and they will send 5 outfits, and out of outfit, usually the customers are keeping 3 of them, which is a fantastic part of it. So really to develop this ecosystem of startup, but also this mindset of being entrepreneur at what level you are into the organization. It has gained a lot of momentum, be it in different countries where we have implemented and into the different activities. But for me, it's just the beginning, because all this startup in the Middle East and all those ideas with a young population which is survive and wants to absolutely come with their ideas is only developing and will scale up tremendously in the years to come. And we want to be part of those who will shape the market, really shapers of the fashion and the beauty industry into the Middle East.
What role do arts and creativity play in your professional and personal life?
I will start by my personal feeling about art. I really think that art is something which is an expression of one person who wants to express some of his emotion. And for those who are looking at those pieces of art, it's really to understand and to get those emotion moving out. I'm an art lover and an art collector, and I have gone through this different part of art. And every time I see a piece of art, it's really about what does it mean to me, what does it translate to me. Art is about this beauty, this aesthetic which we can see. But fashion, beauty, luxury is also about this aesthetic which we are seeing into the products themselves and into their development. So I see a lot of conjunction between the art, the luxury, and this love about the beauty and the purity and the aesthetic.
How can leaders fuel creativity and innovation within their teams and in organizations?
I don't think that a team leader creates this. I think that a team leader has this responsibility of making sure that he gives this space to his team members, that he gives them this ability to have confidence in themselves in order that they express what they have inside. So many of my colleagues feel that they are not creative, but in fact they are. The question is how a leader can make sure that he gives this self-confidence to the people working with him in order to be able to shine, to express, and then all this creativity will happen about it, and get enough patience about it. And I really think that the creativity is in each one of us, and it is our ability to be able to express it and to move about it. I think also the creativity is sometime to move a little bit your borders, to go beyond what you imagine you can do, and beyond your comfort zone, and make it happen. And then often we are really astonished about what we could produce. Sometimes disappointed, but a lot of time really we can feel it. So our responsibility is making sure that our teams have this space in order to liberate himself and have this creativity.
Why does craftsmanship still matter? How can we retain its value in today's digital age?
It's true that when we think about luxury, and when we think in the past, we were always relating it to craftsmanship, we're always relating it to quality, and sometimes to the aesthetic. And it's true that today it is a lot of conjugation of things. But craftsmanship is an absolutely key, and there is this appreciation of the work of the craftsman and his expression. And there is this feeling that the craftsmanship is giving something which is, again, unique, personalized, different, very much catering to itself, which our consumer is doing it. So for me, it's how are we going to promote this craftsmanship in a different manner than perhaps we were promoting it in the past, and which is more relevant to what our consumer is looking for. And craftsmanship really matters. And craftsmanship is also this ability to create a product which is absolutely unique and of a very strong quality, and which probably, if we do something which is much more repetitive, we will lose part of this feeling of exclusivity which we could get with craftsmanship.
Who or what inspires you?
Inspiration for me comes from anything and everything which matters to you. So arts inspire me. If I go and I look at the people who are moving around and who are shopping, or who are just living their life and their art of life, they would definitely be an inspiration for me. I think that if I look to the nature and to the beauty of our environment, it's by itself something which absolutely inspires me. I'm not sure that inspiration comes only from influencer, leaders of opinion, comes only from something which is absolutely big. It's what you could find in anything which relates to you and which you would relate to you. But having said that, arts itself is the best source of inspiration which could matter for me.
Which is your most cherished possession?
I mean, I could speak about pieces of art, and obviously my tastes have changed throughout time. I love Impressionists, I love a Renoir, a Monet, Van Gogh. I love this expression of the nature and the people who live within this nature and the way they have evolved. More recently, I'm much more attracted by modern art, contemporary art, because I felt that in this modern art and contemporary art is more the self-expression of the artist itself. I love an Anish Kapoor, where you could see your reflection of yourself within this massive metallic mirror which you could see about it. I love some of the paintings which I have in my office, some of them which could give us this nostalgia of the past and the look of the future, some which would remind us of how things can go fast and grow and scale up, but also would go down the line and remind us of the beauty of life. I love also when it comes to the fashion which we commercialize, when the art and the fashion are mixed together, when those artists, and without naming, name of brands that when they could apply some of their artistic creativity to some pieces to make them unique and much different from the others, using as a background the product itself and the way it has evolved.